Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Strategy with Sarah. I'm super excited for this Monday because there were a bunch of different things that I was debating, talking about. I thought it was really interesting how Spirit Halloween had that Halloween costume go viral. I feel like it was such a good example of user-generated content that all of these influencers of all sizes wanted to make their own costume. And at the same time, they totally pushed out Spirit Halloween. But as I was going around, as I was thinking about what am I going to talk about today, I was thinking about everything since Elon Musk acquired Twitter. And I was actually in a Twitter space for about an hour this morning, talking with a few friends of mine, talking with Adam at Best of Live Audio, talking with Scott Monty, talking with Neely. And hi, Khalid. Welcome from Bangladesh. I really thought that it's important for us to talk about everything that's going on at Twitter right now because there's so much happening. It's a major social media platform with 200 million users. And, one of the things that I really believe when we think strategically about social media is that there's really actually no differentiation. Hi, RJ. Sometimes we'll say, oh, well, I can't wait until we meet IRL. Like in real life and online are two completely different, disparate and different spaces. And one of the things that's so important to remember is that online is real life. What happens on these platforms does affect our lives. And so we need to talk about it. So the first and kind of most important and most devastating and important thing to cover that for some reason I'm only seeing on certain thought leaders' feeds is it's important to know that since Elon Musk took over Twitter, hate speech went up 500%. 500% the morning after he took over Twitter. Now, one of the reasons why I know this, my friend Walt Gear, who's Chief Experience Design Officer at BMLYNR, posted a screen share. Hey, good morning. How are you? Posted a screen share to LinkedIn. And it was a screen share of the hate speech that was going on Twitter. And LinkedIn took it down 2 hours later because it was literally showing all of the hate speech that was going on Twitter. But there was a commentary there about what happens when you open the floodgates, right? And so I think sometimes people think very aspirationally. Oh, Elon keeps saying, I love humanity. This is going to be a town square. This is going to be a space for all voices. 100% true, RJ. Yeah, horrible things, especially towards African Americans. Yeah, there were tons of racial slurs. There were tons of anti-Semitic tweets. It was bad. And so the first thing actually that I talked about extensively this morning, and then I saw my friend Walt put on his LinkedIn post again today, like he and I are very aligned on this, is so first of all, again, from a strategy perspective, social media brands, you need to be in also what my friend Scott Monty this morning called a brand safe space, right? And so one of the things that I commented on in this discussion is that we've seen where commentators on a news program just saying something slightly controversial, right? We'll see the calls for the advertisers to pull from their programming. So here we have a platform where hate speech has gone up 500%. You best believe that the last thing that you want as an advertiser is a screenshot of, your skincare, your shoes, your end tables next to hate speech. That's not what you want to be co-branding with. So the first thing that I think that Elon really needs to figure out and get a handle on is that. Now it's interesting because there are so many layers to this. Good morning, John. Welcome. There are so many layers to this, right? So many layers. So one of the things that we saw, if you haven't been following kind of everything around Elon's acquisition of Twitter, one of the things that we saw that was going on in the trial when originally there was kind of this intermediary period when it was like, will he or won't he buy Twitter, was that a bunch of text messages came out and were published online for people to read. And one of the things that we saw is that amongst the sort of highly powerful people who Elon Musk was consulting with included Republican operatives. And so a lot of people who feel that Republican and right-wing voices have been silenced on social media, particularly since Donald Trump left Twitter, are heralding this new day for free speech, are optimistic, do not think that it's going to be a place for hate speech, but actually feel that, it's so interesting again. Thank you for messaging me. We can talk. It's so interesting, this idea of free speech on social media and how we're going to effectively ensure free speech on social media. There are so many threads to pull. There are so many things to talk about because candidly, as a nation right now, as humanity right now, there's this terminology that's been around for some years called alternative facts, right? There's the fact that we don't even agree on the science. We don't even agree on the news. So the thing is that um, there has been a lot of signaling from Elon Musk camp, whether it was firing the C-suite executive at Twitter who was responsible for removing Donald Trump from the platform, whether it's the fact that he retweeted or kind of commented on this misinformation around something that happened with Speaker Pelosi this weekend, whether it was fact checking a tweet from President Biden. It seems that Elon's real push in this moment towards free speech, it looks to be right leaning. And again, we're so close to the midterms. We are not that far out from the next presidential election. So again, I'm starting here with the gravity of what's going on this platform, because of the gravity of the impact that it could have on our lives. Now, when we talk about social media strategy, there are a lot of things that are interesting. So Elon actually sent out a tweet asking whether or not he should bring back Vine, which, if you're unfamiliar, Vine was a short form video platform that Twitter acquired some years ago and then killed. Um, and it's super interesting because when the question comes up of, well, where will advertisers go if Twitter can't get it together? And answers to all the short form video platforms. We see TikTok, we see Reels, we see YouTube Shorts all taking off. And candidly, for me, one of the examples I gave this morning is that I was like, if I have the opportunity to, if I'm, let's say I'm not even looking for new makeup, but the difference between someone tweeting like, oh, this new makeup, it's so great, it's so wonderful, it's creamy, it's smooth, and watching someone actually apply it, I'm going to lean into short form video. And one of the things that I tell my audience members in all of my coaching sessions is that if you want to see what's going to be next, look what multiple platforms are all integrating at once, because they have teams of people that are studying consumer behavior. So we know short form video is where it's at. So I'm not at all surprised that one of the first things that Elon is doing is considering whether or not he should bring back Vine. Another thing that came out this morning, because Elon's moving fast, he has given the team, which again, he is said to be laying off 25% of Twitter's staff. And he's already, again, removed like ton of very powerful people in the C-suite, including the CEO. Which again, when I was asked about this, to me, I referenced the fact that my ex-husband was a college football coach. And one of the things that you'll see whenever you get a new head coach is that they want to bring in their guys, right? Because they want to bring in the people who know their philosophies, who know their plays, who know their systems. So some people are kind of commenting like, oh, Elon's bringing in all of his guys to have behind closed doors meetings to make changes. Well, of course he is. That doesn't surprise me at all. That fits to me with his brand. Again, going back to elite text messages, Parag, the former CEO of Twitter, was kind of saying, why don't you come in and have an all hands and build trust with the team and, all these different things. And that's when Elon just wrote him back and said, like, I don't even want to join the board. Like, I have bigger plans than this. So it seems that his leadership style in this moment is just kind of a my way or the highway and bringing his people in. I was going to say, one of the things that I find particularly interesting that's come out in this push to monetize within a week is this idea: would users pay $19.99, about $20 a month, to keep their blue check and access additional opportunities? And it's an interesting question for several reasons. Again, going back to what I started with at the top of this, of today's episode, today's installment, today's show, is that as soon as you start paying for something, paying into it, paying to be there, I think that you're officially co-branding. And so if Twitter can't get a hold of its hate speech, I think that it brings a whole nother level of saying, why are you paying $240 a year to a platform with a 500% increase in hate speech. Hey, well, that's literally what I'm talking about right now. And so I think that it would be problematic for anyone who's subscribing to a platform that hasn't gotten a hold of that. I think it's interesting as well because it kind of feels like an empty threat to me. Like, what is Elon going to do if someone famous is like, oh, I don't want to pay $20 a month? And other people on the call this morning were making the argument. They were like, well, what famous person wouldn't pay $20 a month to make sure that they don't have imposters? And I was like, well, what about someone standing on principle? So then are you going to remove the blue checks from all of the people who just aren't interested in paying in? I think that it's going to make your platform look ridiculous, candidly. Um, so it's an interesting and it's important conversation, all of the changes that he's making. And that's why I wanted to talk about it today. So if you have any questions, drop them on the comments on any platforms, because we've been going at this for a little while. But it's an important and it's an interesting conversation. The other thing that I'll do when this goes live, I will drop the link to the Twitter space that we did because we talked through everything having to do with all these updates that we could for about an hour this morning. I was the contrarian. I did keep coming back to the fact that if it's not a safe platform, it's not a worthwhile platform. I do think that Elon is firing with live ammo. I think that he's treating it like a reality show. I think that there's just a lot of interesting moves being made at the moment for the sake of publicity and to appeal to a broader agenda. And I think it's worth considering. So I am going to hop off for now, but I appreciate everyone for joining. I hope you found this informative. If you have any questions, anything else that you wish that I'd covered, because again, Elon is moving at the speed of light in everything, in staffing, in monetization, in culture, in what he is doing and what he isn't doing. So let's talk about it. Drop me a question, drop me a link, and I will share the link to that Twitter space. Thank you all. Bye.